and doing what they always do. Now, those of you who understand the inner earth, those of you who understand the inner earth and understand the concept of the inner earth, wherever you might spiritually describe it, what is in that center of the inner earth? It is that recreation of that final Temple of Solomon. And here it is an important caveat that we have to give. There are those who are Jews who believe that it is their duty to recreate this Temple of Solomon in physicality, and they are mistaken. And there are those who are Christian who believe it is their duty to recreate the Temple of Solomon in physicality, and they are mistaken. For don't you understand by the very essence of the story that the Temple of Solomon was built once in physicality, and it was built best, in the best mold, by the best person at the best time for that moment and that status and that role and that scene in our story is already played out. And that the temple, my brothers and sisters who are Jews and Christians, is a spiritual temple that exists and is way more real than anything you might build with bricks and mud, my brothers and sisters. And all your brothers and sisters of the light who have visited the temple or who have gone to the temple or know about the temple will acknowledge and admit what I'm telling you is open and clear. And any reason to fight over physical land because of a temple is a mistake in our understanding. And in this, my brothers and sisters from the Jewish community are mistaken. And in this, my brothers and sisters from the Christian community are mistaken. And in this, of course, my brothers and sisters from the Muslim community are mistaken. That being said, one of the other further things that we get from the Prophet's ascension is again that at different levels he was greeted and given the peace and glad tidings by each messenger of the light. Again, told us this and described us this, fully acknowledging that we are part of the tail, not a separate entity, not a separate group, but connected to the law of one, the oneness of all that is, believing in the Creator of all of the prophets, the Creator of all that is, the one who has made the perfection of all that is. Now, at a deeper level, we're going to have to talk about the actual Salah itself. What is the prayer? Now, you see, it was at part of the time, many of my brothers and sisters don't realize, since we're now going to talk about sacred geometry, that while the Kaaba itself, now I have to mention something about the Kaaba since we're going to go back into sacred geometry. And we're going to describe the essence of the prayer. You have to understand that the reason why the Salah or the prayer was assigned to the Prophet Muhammad at the highest point of ascension is that the prayer is the key to our planet's ascension. And don't worry, brothers and sisters who speak English. Don't worry, Lightworker community, if you don't understand what I mean. There are plenty of us who are praying and know exactly what it means. Now, this doesn't mean any other prayers are invalid. And don't misunderstand me, O brethren of the light. All of us can change anything with just a thought, right? With just an intent. Any one of us with pure emotional love, a pure love of the heart, and a pure intent could change this whole world if we so wanted. And all of us are getting ready to do so. But that being said, one of the things that is important about sacred geometry is we mentioned the black rock at the time of Adam. And we mentioned the rebuilding of the Kaaba at the time of Abraham. And we mentioned that it was built at the time of Adam. But at the time of the Prophet, we said that it was surrounded by pagans and that the Prophet was kicked out of Mecca. Now, many people don't realize that at this time, the center or the temple of light upon the earth was still the Temple of Solomon. Was still the portal of ascension. Was still the place of the ascension of Jesus, son of Mary. Jesus, son of Mary, will descend, by the way, at that same location. The Prophet still ascended from that same location and returned to that same location. Right? You have to understand that there was a recognition that that was a primary portal, a primary hub of light, and that the direction that the Muslims prayed towards was towards Jerusalem. Do you realize that the Prophet and the Muslims prayed towards Jerusalem because they realized at that time that that is where the intent and the portal and the light was supposed to be channeled. There was an understanding of sacred geometry, my brothers and sisters. Now we get to an understanding of what is the actual prayer. Well, we said that the heart chakra of the earth is the Kaaba. And one of the things I needed to mention is that even prior to the ascension, even prior to the declaration of the Prophet Muhammad that he was now a bearer of light and a messenger for the Lord, even prior to his revelation of the word of the Lord, he was considered a Sadiq al-Amin, a trustworthy, an honest and noble person. So much so that when the Kaaba was rebuilt after it was destroyed in a destruction or a quake, one of the things that came loose was the black stone. And when it was time to put the black stone back in, a few of the tribes debated and got into an argument over what would happen. What would happen? And who would get the honor of doing a certain event. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was there at that moment. And him being the person that he was given the honor of resolving the conflict. There's a little plug to all my brothers and sisters who understand conflict resolution, who know that the next phase is about resolving conflict, who are heart-centered and oneness-centered and are speaking from the heart and openness, and they know that the avatar that they're looking for is to resolve conflict. When you try to put yourself in that position and get into that frame of mind of being able to resolve conflict, then I want you to remember, what is that vibration that you're looking for? It's that moment where the Prophet is there, where the tribes on the earth are going to argue about something that is very crucial, the placing of the black stone into the heart chakra of the earth, into the temple of the Lord that we have now. And the Prophet is chosen to resolve the conflict. So what he decides to do is say that the stone, the black stone, will be placed on a cloth, and each tribe will have their leader hold one corner, and in a sense of unity and oneness, they will all together raise the stone in its noble fashion and raise it to its highest elevation, and that he himself would help place it into its spot. It just so happened that he got to be the one to do that as the one in the position of leading this process. It was his noble status and honor. But the Kaaba is the heart center, and the Kaaba or the Qibla changes, and now the center of the earth, the center of the direction, the portal of light, the focus of the light workers on this earth, the new pillar of light that is supposed to be the place of sacred geometry, is now the place of our father Adam, our father of flesh, of our father Abraham, our father of flesh and soul, of the final messenger, The place of prayer is changed, and the ascension of the prophet has happened. It is time for the dramatic change. It is time for a new world to start. It is time for you to see what's going to happen next. It is time for you to know why it is that you are going to ascend. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.